Hello and welcome to the Ultimate Fighting Chat podcast. Today we're going to be discussing UFC 265, Derrick Lewis versus Ciryl Gane. This is the prelims. Anik introduced the commentators with a crap line at the beginning. We do not take your viewership for granted, he said. And then there was the little boxes of each of the people that were part of the broadcast team. Stephen A, he better take notice because Levy was in one of those boxes, so she's part of the team. And they made sure that you knew about it right at the start, even though she don't come up as in physically straight away. She's part of the team, along with Din Thomas. What do you think of him doing the Whitmans? He's the new Whitman. I don't know what's happened to Whitman, but he's been whitted out, and it's Din Thomas in by the sounds of it. Or maybe they're sharing the role. Who knows? But anyway, we've had some Whitters before, and now we've got some Din Thomas. And what do you think of, well, I don't know if he's a replacement, but what do you think of the two side by side? Which one would you rather have? Or would you want to mix them up and go, sometimes I want Whitman back?
I couldn't give a monkey's if either of them were there or not, to be honest.
Right. Okay, that's the best answer I've ever heard.
They pop in for about like 20 seconds and generally repeat probably something that Dominic Cruz or Bisping or Cormier's already sort of said at some stage during the fight. Waste of time. I hope they don't get paid for that.
Bloody yeah.
It's not worth it for like literally like a minute per card. Let's just check in what Dean Thomas says. He just says exactly what Bisping just said the round previous. I mean, you can get paid for that.
No, but they're supposed to offer extra insight.
I know they're supposed to be ex-cornermen or cornermen, so they know what it's like to be a cornerman. You know, that's Whitman's move, and it always coming on going like, I love the corner work, like as if he's a connoisseur of corner work. You know, he really studies corner work. I love this man's corner work. You know, blah, 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 boring. We know, you know, whenever it's going to be Longo and Sarah, you're going to get that. I wish these guys had their own TV show. Crap. Just boring. I'm not bothered. I didn't know you were going to ask me this question, but I'm not bothered. I don't care about it.
Okay, that's good that you didn't know because that's what proof that it's a off-the-cuff chat. I'm not saying do you remember anything he said, but did his Din Thomas coming on, did it just come and go and it didn't mean anything? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't really listen to it.
Okay, all right.
I didn't go. Oh, Dean Thomas is on. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
You know, maybe if they got someone else in, I would go see what he's got to say.
Who would you get? You're in charge.
Who
would you get to do that job if you was given the employer's role?
Colby Covington.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. No one. I just wouldn't have that role. Like I say, you got Bisping there. You got, you've got your guys who know what they're chatting about. Your Cruz, your Cormier.
I think
you don't need an ex-cornerman. I'll tell you what, it reminds me a little. I'll go off on one, so I'm not gonna go off on it too much. But it's just like now in the Premier League, sometimes they go, let's check back in the studio with ex-Premier League referee. And I can't remember which one, Mike Dean or whatever. They go and have a chat with an ex-referee, and the ex-referee just goes, yes, for me, that was clearly a yellow card. He made contact with the ankle, and a yellow card that seems like the right booking. I'm just like, so what? So what that Mike Dean thinks that was a yellow card? Who cares? It's so crap. I'll tell you who it is. Peter Walton, I think that's his name. He does it for BT Sport, and he's absolute garbage.
Oh.
He's absolute garbage.
You didn't say that about Whitters.
Talking to him, well, yeah, he's worse. He's a waste of time. It's because he agreed with a decision that went against Aston Villa that cost us a game.
Oh, right. Well,
it ain't me being spiteful. His decision was pathetic. His logic was embarrassing. That's why he's just a yes man. And I'm not interested in Whitman. Not interested in Thomas. Either get him in the booth to do full commentary or none at all. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's quite a good idea, I think, as in they're trying to think of ways to make the broadcast better. They're trying to. I don't really like it that much either. It don't really add much, as you say, but I appreciate the effort of going, what else can we do? Hey?
I don't.
Oh.
they've tried it. They tried it loads with Whitman. It was crap. They think just changing the wheel and putting Din Thomas on there instead is going to make it good. They're mistaken. It's still crap.
That's that then, isn't it?
Anyway, let's go.
Yeah.
First.
This is not the first fight on the card because I checked and there was 4 early prelims that I've not seen. So we're just going to do the televised part of this now. We don't chat about things we know nothing about, as everyone knows, right? The first fight on this televised card for UFC 265 was Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Jessica Penne. As you've said before, it's either a decision win normally, but this was a classic woman armbar win by Penne. So I think you've been heard before saying words to the effect of people don't get done by armbars anymore unless it's a woman fight. And you've been proved right.
No one gets done by armbars. I mean, occasionally, someone might get, rocked and slung in one and have their arm popped a little bit or whatever. But yeah, generally people don't get done with armbars. I mean, I've got nothing to say about this fight apart from Penne won by armbar. Next.
Well, did you not notice when Buffer was doing the announcements? There's a couple of things here that I picked up on. How close they zoomed in on Karolina's face when he was doing the announcement. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable, right?
I had it on like 60-inch screen, 4K HD. You know what I mean? Especially because she does the whole kind of shy, timid, lean against the cage version.
That's right. Yeah.
Basically the camera and sticking the camera up her hooter. But
it was a little bit strange that I thought. Yeah, but speaking of sticking up hooters, that might be why he didn't do the same to Jessica Penne.
Yeah, might not have got it back. I think we better cut that bit.
If he did the same thing with Jessica Penne, the cameraman wouldn't have been able to get as close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a barrier.
I'm going to bail on this.
Anyway.
Yeah, look, the thing is, I don't really know what's going on with Penne. It's like she seems to not be in it, then be in it, and then not be in it for ages, and then be in it, and then not be in it, and then be in it. But she's had a couple of wins now, hasn't she, on the bounce? And
say 2 in a row or something.
Yeah, Kowalkiewicz can't buy a win at the moment. She had that title shot, didn't she?
That's right.
She kind of came into the UFC, won a couple of fights by the other people just sort of like gassing out, hitting her. Kind of got her quite high up the ranks. And then once everybody realised just don't shoot your load in the first round, she kind of started to find it a little bit more difficult to win fights. She's now lost
3 or 4.
She lost 7 of her last 9 and 5 straight.
5 straight?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. That's
she
quite a run.
She lost to Jacek and she beat Namajunas on a split decision.
Okay.
How? I'd have to go back and rewatch that fight. How did that happen?
Are you going to go back and rewatch that?
Nah. But how did it happen?
I don't know because I probably barely watched it at the time and I'm definitely not going to rewatch it.
But Namajunas is actually really good, right?
Yep. Very good, yeah.
How did she beat her? Anyway, doesn't matter.
Who knows? Maybe Whitman was on a day off that day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was doing commentary for the UFC. Yeah, lost 5 straight. That's going to be worrying for her, isn't it? But what might save her is the fact that there's not that many female fighters out there, and she's won a decent amount of UFC fights. She has fought for a belt. She is European. Always handy to have those fighters to fill out those European cards. So she might get another chance or 2. I don't like to see anyone lose their job doing. 2 straight now for Penne.
Okay, well, what would you say her nickname should be? Because there doesn't seem to be one listed. I mean, I think it's a really obvious one for her.
Pasta.
No, that's it. I mean, there you go. I said it was an obvious one. It's an obvious one. I can't think of anything better. Why is that not her nickname? There you go. Now, a couple of other things to pick up, not really on the fight, but while he was zooming in on the face, obviously, Buffer announced her name, and Anik, Mr. Perfect, thinks it's all right to call Buffer out on his pronunciation of her Polish name. Smashed it. words to the effect of, very interesting interpretation of her name.
Does he do the Kovalkovic or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, well, look.
No one knows the names unless they're as well as Anik. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Not even Buffer.
That's his thing. Look, people get names wrong, right? Big deal.
Yeah. Should Buffer get it wrong, though, if he got it wrong at all?
Honestly, no, he shouldn't.
Right.
It's his job. No. It is his job, right? That's all he's got to do. Read out the record, read out the name, read out the winner. The least, if he did get it wrong and Anik's right, the least he should do is get the name right. He should do.
Yeah.
He's crap.
Agreed. Yeah,
He's crap. Thomas is crap. Whitman's crap.
Okay, yeah, so everyone's crap. But the only other thing I've got to say is that Cruz was on this card without Bizzers. And if you remember, the last time we saw Bizzers, he was with Felder when he was wearing ginger shoes. And maybe they've split the team up, the dream team, because I don't think they do get on. Is it Bizzers or is it Cruz? I don't know. However, right at the beginning, Cormier also had a bit of an issue with Cruz, if you remember. That's if you watch this fight. But they had a little bit of a disagreement over that weren't really a sweep. It was kind of a double leg. And then Cruz came in and went, well, technically that was a sweep to this, to that, to this. And he went, and Cormier said, well, it weren't. Sorry, Dom, but it wasn't. Well, it was technically. So yeah, they had a little bit of back and forth there.
There was something else that happened later. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but Cormier sort of said, "Yeah, well, I got that one right. What you saying about that Cruz kind of thing? It was a little it sounded like a veiled dig. I can't remember anything of what it was like. There was something where I went, oh, that sounded a bit.
There you go.
Cruz just comes across as passive aggressive, doesn't he? That's what it is. He might be just misunderstood, perhaps.
Maybe. And if it's and if it may be his type of humor, and sometimes these things, if they were done in a different way, we wouldn't be bringing it up, right? Because it's two people having a laugh, and you can tell. It's just that with Cruz, it doesn't sound like he's having a laugh, but he might be. It might just be whatever you call it, a dry sense of humor or whatever. I'm not sure if that is the right word for it. Sometimes you can pick up on these things and go, oh, they're only having a laugh, but you can't tell with him. You just can't tell if it's real or not. So that's that. I'm not talking any more about this fight. You've hardly spoke about this fight. That's true. I really haven't. But there weren't much to say. Penne was doing cries afterwards. In the interview, couldn't really get words out to start with. Having a bit of...
Fair enough. She's on a 2-fight win streak. She, this is her return, isn't it? Like I say, she hadn't fought for about 3 or 4 years previously, and she weren't winning fights before that.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that she might feel that this is a resurgence, and she's all, a little bit emotional, a bit excited about it.
Done someone that's lost her previous 4, but yeah, all right, no worries.
But let's not forget who has got a win over the current champ and has also fought for the belt. So it's still good for her, but I can't see
it's better than getting done.
Yeah, and I can't see her troubling the top of the division. I don't think she looks that devastating, and she looks a little bit too basic on the feet to cause too many ripples. But who knows? Who knows? You don't know, and she's doing all right.
That's right, doing all right. The next fight, Alonzo Atomic Menefield versus Ed Short Fuse Herman. Look, Herman's the best. That's all there is to it. I think he's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Loved him. Brilliant.
All right. Next fight. Vince Morales.
Whoa. That's me. That's just what I think.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I need your insight.
Well, I like Ed Herman loads. I really do. I even liked him in the corner. I like people like, he's a real experienced guy. He's kind of saying, what is it I need to do here and stuff. Real level-headed sort of, and blah, blah, blah. So I really do like him. He seems like one of those guys that's just been around forever. I mean, really has been around forever. But he was annoying me in this fight as well. Annoying me is the wrong word, but that's the word I'm going to go with. He was annoying me this fight. 15 years he's been in the UFC. 15 years. Brilliant. So obviously, I like the guy loads. he's had a good career, you know, wins a couple, loses a couple, that kind of vibe. But you always know you're going to get a good scrap from him. But they picked up on it later in the fight, and it was just the way he was following Alonso around the cage, not cutting it off, not stepping to the side, nothing, just literally following him round. And it was like a lost child, and it was doing my nutting.
Yeah, but he's non-real at fights.
Well, no, he's definitely real at fights, isn't he? But he's
Well,
when it comes to a sort of stand-up affair, he is a very sort of ploddy, pretty basic. You know, he's not the most dynamic or explosive guy, right? He's a bit more. It's a bit better with grappling, submissions,
all right.
and he obviously carries a fair bit of power because he's a big, strong lump. But you know, you don't ever see him up and about on his feet, cutting angles, throwing fakes and stuff. He ain't that kind of guy, is he? But it was just doing my head in because he was following him around the whole fight. And the thing is, towards the end of round 2, one of the commentators finally sort of said something about, like, you know, you need to try and cut off the cage a bit more. It's like, you're telling me I've had to watch 9 minutes of him literally following that guy around like he's attached to his bloody ankle. You know, like those old chain gangs you see in movies, prisoners on chain gangs.
Yeah.
And they've all got chains like attached to each other.
You think that's a real thing? You think they still use that chain thing? Is that what it's called? A chain gang?
Chain gang, yeah, I think so.
Mm.
But yeah, they don't use it. Not in our country anyway, or America, I don't think.
They
but
do
anyway,
if you have to take them all out at the same time to break rocks.
Yeah, but they don't do that anymore, do they?
Well, there's no rocks out to break in this country.
That's just in Eastwood movies, isn't it? And all that.
Is it?
But yeah, that was just pissing me off about Herman, and it just made the fight. Honestly, the fight just became a bit same after round 1.
Herman had some issues in that fight, though. There's partly some reasons why he was doing what he was doing, but I have to agree with you. He does it in every fight, so it's not really down to the fact that his leg was smashed up, and he definitely doesn't train how to fight with his right leg forward. There's no doubt about that, because he looked really awkward doing it. He obviously had to do it because he switched stance and then couldn't fight, which means he was desperate. Otherwise, you wouldn't do that, right? You'd stay there, go take the pain, and continue to fight how you feel most comfortable. He didn't look comfortable fighting with a right lead, and would have been quite a good idea at some point to train from both sides, as you can see. So he had some problems there, but I don't know if it would have been any different, because all of his fights are pretty much like that, aren't they? There was a couple of good moments he had with some of them powers uppercuts and all that from clinches and next to the cage. And he, as you've said, he's got some powers and he can always win those fights. I mean, I continue to watch that fight thinking he still might win it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's same here. That's what you'd say is good about Herman, right? I watched that whole fight. And I didn't even really dislike the fight that much.
No, it's
I watched
right,
it because I had that intrigue of, can Herman grab hold of him, you know, and get hold of him, you know, in some way, shape, or form, whether it be on the floor or up against the cage. Or there was a few times where he exchanged some pretty hefty leather, and I thought if he lands with one of those, he could also have Mennefield in trouble here. By the same token, Mennefield was throwing some pretty big shots, and I thought he could probably have Herman in trouble. So it was an engaging enough fight in that regard to watch. It was just a little frustrating just watching him follow Mennefield around the cage so much, when just a little sidestep or what have you would just have, you know, done him a lot of good. But as you said, he had a lot of things to contend with, didn't he? That leg was pretty mashed up after the first few minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that was taking the bulk of his focus, wasn't it? Protecting that leg rather than how can I land any offense here and stuff like that. It kind of became a little bit of I need to protect this leg first and then see what else comes up on the back of that, rather than the other way around. So, yeah, it's a shame for Herman because, as you say, we like him. But he clearly lost 30-27s. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Couldn't get him out of there, could he, Mennefield? Couldn't do him. Couldn't do him. Sorry, couldn't do him. Even with that smashed in leg. What about the bit where the doctor came in and thought, listen, I need to check this leg? And he's like, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. And he was hopping around on it, jumping about up and down, going, there's nothing wrong with my leg. Just leave it. Brilliant. So Herman's best. Now, the next fight, Vince Morales, Vendetta, not Vendetta, Vendetta. So he's probably had a couple of, I don't know, dodgy vans sold to him or something, and now he's annoyed with them. Versus Draco Rodriguez. It's boring, this fight. I didn't like this fight. I thought this fight was boring, and the only thing I've got to say, it seemed to be a questionable decision, but that's got a question mark because I'm asking you, was it a questionable decision?
Yeah, this was a horrible fight for me to watch. I really did not enjoy watching this fight whatsoever. Now, I didn't even think either of them looked that bad. It was just one of those fights where neither style meshed. It was just horrible to watch. I think both of them were putting in effort. Vendetta was coming forward, being the aggressor, and I think that's probably what secured him the fight because, let's be honest, it was kind of neither here nor there. Neither person really dominated any aspect of that fight. The reason we were saying we still engaged with the Menefield Herman fight, right, was because there was still an element of something could happen here. Someone could land a big bomb. Herman could get, some sort of arm crank or, just some weird sort of submission. So it kept your interest. This fight, I get the impression they could still be fighting now and it'd still be a 50-50.
Yeah.
Punch up. I still would be like, no one's been knocked out, no one's been submitted, no one's dominating, and it's the fight's still going on 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
It's just
check back in on that fight. Anything happened yet? It's like when you're cooking something, a roast joint or waiting for some potatoes to cook, everything else is ready, and you go, is anything happening when the potatoes yet? They're still rock hard.
Yeah, and they're still white, I could sum up that fight just by going,
yeah,
that's what it was to me. And that seems really disrespectful because both went in there and did have a scrap and put in effort, and neither of them were even crap.
I think they both look good.
It just weren't a fight that had any excitement in it whatsoever. And I really didn't enjoy it. I don't think it was a controversial decision. It was one of those fights that if it went to the other fella, I'd have gone, yep, fine. And if it went to the fella, Morales, I'd go, yep, fine. To me, neither of them can have any complaints because neither of them had any significant dominance in the fight. So when a fight's like that, you can't complain when the result comes out and it's maybe don't go your way. Morales probably got it just because he was being the aggressor, right? And looked like he was trying to force the action a bit more. That's why I actually leant towards him as well, I think. Horrible fight. Horrible.
It was. it was. It's weird, right?
Fight. No, it wasn't that bad, but it weren't very good.
Well, in some ways, there are a lot worse fights, but they're still easier to watch. This was just, I don't know. I couldn't handle it either, is the truth.
It's weird, isn't it? Because, like you say, neither of them were that bad. They're both reasonably skilled. They're both
good,
a good effort to win the fight. It was just something about it. Even from the off, after about 3 minutes of that fight, I was like, "Oh, come on!
Yeah, what's happening here?"
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what happened. Yeah, I went to check on the spuds, and they weren't done either. So it was a real bad day. That was that fight.
Yeah, correct.
Get lost. Yeah, get out of my memory.
Fortunately, the last fight on the prelims was a good one. Bobby King Green versus Rafael Aljamain. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Fizaev or Fizev. I think they were just calling him, or was he Fizev? Oh, help me out here. Do you remember how to pronounce his name? I really like this guy as well. He's qual. I mean, I remember his last few fights. Fiziev, you reckon, yeah?
I don't know. I just call him Rapha.
Rapha?
Yeah, just call him Rapha.
God, you've even bloody abbreviating his first name. All right. Okay, Rapha. Now, I like this guy. I remember seeing him in his past couple of fights going, this is a good new powers bloke who smashes teeth. It was a good fight, this. Went all 3 rounds, decision to Rapha. And I did think after the first 2 rounds, Green needs a finish, and he's not really a finished sort of bloke. So I thought it was going to go to a decision, even after round 2. But I tell you what, Green didn't half give it some in round 3. He definitely won that round easy. And if I don't like these comments, I don't like these ones. But if it was a 5-rounder, I don't like these sort of things because it wasn't. And it's a sport, and you get 3 rounds to do the job. So Rafa won it. As simple as that. If that was 5 rounds, I'll put my money on Green.
Okay, that's fine. I'll give you a different scenario though. It's
Okay,
not
then.
a 5-round fight. It's still a 3-round fight. Just just two things I want to pick you up on. Firstly, you say Green definitely won round 3. To me, he didn't just win round 3. It was bordering on, getting him out of there. It was really starting to look a bit rough for Rafa. But what I will say is one judge gave it 30-27. So Rafa gave Rafa that third round. Now
Wow,
we'll come on.
that's a big surprise. That.
Well, yeah, we'll come on to that later. What I was going to say to you, though, is forget the 5-round thing. Scoring it as a sport by rounds, you gave it to Rafa 2 rounds to 1, yeah? 29-28.
Yeah, that's right.
The Fiziev. What if they said, don't score it by rounds, just score it as a whole? Who's winning that fight? Who'd you give that fight to? Because to me, it's Bobby Green.
Easy.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah,
So
easy.
I think that proves the scoring system's a bit naff.
Agreed. He had plenty of energy left.
Bobby Green won that fight.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to call it a fight, yeah, then he won that fight. Agreed. He ended up just outlasting the other guys. I thought Green was brilliant in this fight. I thought he was really good.
That Fiziev, he's obviously a powerful striker, and he puts a lot of steam into all of his shots. He's very sort of compact, and when he throws almost with 100% power, everything. And I think that is why he gassed out and Green didn't, because Green's got a more loose sort of style that doesn't take so much sort of energy and power. He kind of doesn't throw big haymakers or anything like that, does he? He throws just looser shots, whereas Fiziev is more absolute. Everything is with 100% aggression, 100% power. And that's why I think he gassed out going into the third round. Not gassed out, he set a good pace and he just fatigued, right? But Bobby Green in that third round, I don't think he was far off causing Rafa some real problems, as in landing a shot that could have put him on Queer Street. With about 2 minutes to go, I think Green could get a late stoppage here. That's
Which
how
isn't what I thought. Going into the third round, I went, Green's not really a smash-out finisher bloke. He's probably going to lose a decision.
It was accumulation, wasn't it?
Yeah, but within that round, I went, oh, she is going to do him then. I thought he was.
And that's the way I saw it as well. If I was scoring it as a judge, I'd have given it 29-28 Rafa. But if I was scoring it as the fight as a whole, just as say if I saw that fight on a street corner, all 15 minutes of that fight, and then somebody came along and split it up, I'd go, Bobby Green was better. He was the better fight.
Yeah, he was getting the better of it, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to win that fight. Because the first 2 rounds, even though Rafa won them, and I think he won them clearly enough, not massively clearly, but clearly enough.
Yeah, but Green still did good in them.
He's still competitive in those rounds. He was still landing counter strikes and something other. I told you that I believe in a half-point scoring system. So if I was scoring that fight as a sport, I still would have got it wrong, because I think I'd have given Rafa the first 2 rounds 10 to 9.5, and then the last round I'd have given to Green 10-9, which means it would have been a draw. But that's still better than what I think they came out with, which was one judge giving it 30-27, giving Rafa all 3 rounds. I'm not one of these guys that goes, they need to fire him, he should never judge again, and all that sort of stuff. But honestly, they should fire him, he should never judge again. He's like, that's, can you believe
that? Isn't it?
Yeah, to me, that's one of, there's been times before where they've done this, where they've called a judge out on scoring a round, and people go, no, I didn't agree with that. But I can always go, yeah, but it's not that big a deal that he scored that round wrong. It wasn't that decisive. But this Green Rafa Fiziev third round, it's got to be one of the most simple, obvious rounds to score for a fight. When they read out 30-27, I thought Bobby Green's won it, because I thought there's literally no possible way anyone could have given Rafa round 3. No possible way. So I went, it's more likely that someone gave Bobby Green rounds 1 and 2 as well than it was that he gave Rafa round 3. There's no way he could have won round 3. Just no way.
He's unbelievable. Really is. I don't know what happened there, whether he fell asleep and went, well, it's obvious the other bloke won, so I'll just give him that round anyway. Or he went to the toilet, came back and went, well, I know he's won, so I ain't going to do him a disservice because he won the first 2 rounds or whatever. But yeah, that round 3 was as clear as day. As clear as day. After fight chats, did that Fiziev call out Hasbulla kid?
He's not a kid, but yeah, he did. Yeah, I've got just some quick numbers for you here. By round, Bobby Green landed 66 strikes of 121 in round 3. Fiziev landed 43 of 79.
Oh yeah, so he threw way less and landed less of a percentage of his strikes as well.
And Bobby Green outlanded him with head strikes almost 3-1 in that round.
Yeah, well, you tell that to what's the name of the judge? Do you want to call him out?
Nah. No, hang on. I think his name was Stephen Wonder.
So Wonder Boy's a judge now.
No, Stevie Wonder.
Oh, oh, right.
Yeah. Not Wonder Boy Thompson. This might surprise you. Round 2, Bobby Green outlanded Fiziev 45 strikes to 36.
Unbelievable.
And in round 1, Bobby Green outlanded Fiziev 32 strikes to 25.
Well, so we're all wrong. Green won it. Simple as that, yeah.
Well, no, we weren't wrong because, like I said to you, if you judged the fight as a whole, you said Bobby Green won. I said Bobby Green won.
Yeah.
Both of them wicked, by the way.
Oh, Bobby Green. I like both of them. Green's good, and Fizzy Head, he's brilliant as well. We think Green won, but he didn't, and that's it. That's it. I can't help it. I can't change it.
No, yeah, we know that, yeah.
Definitely not.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you, though, that both of them are brilliant. Fiziev is really, really good. Probably one of my favourite new blokes to watch in it.
Yeah, he's qual, mate. He's mint as out.
You beat Bobby Green, you're not going to get the kudos for it. You know what I mean? You're not going to get any kudos for it for beating Bobby Green, but the chance are you ain't going to beat him because he's brilliant. So just don't fight him. That's my advice. To all the fighters out there, don't fight Bobby Green. There you go. Don't fight Bobby Green. You're going to get done. Simple as that.
Strategic coaching, strategic management style that people need to take on board.
They should get me on the broadcast instead of Dean Thomas and Whitman.
No, because you've agreed that job should be vacant.
It's true, yeah. Talk myself out of a job.
So you can't do it. Look, if you want, we can Rapha that up.
Yeah.
Now, because that's the end of it. That's the end of the prelims. And why drag something on that we don't need to drag on? I'd say overall, that was pretty crap.
Well, I would say I really enjoyed the Fiziev Green fight. I thought that was great. He actually won 5.
That was really good, yeah.
Morales' fight just wasn't very enjoyable. The Manifield Ed Herman fight was okay. And the Penne Kovacevic was at least over quickly.
I don't know. We didn't see him. I said I weren't going to chat about them. I'm not. But if we look at the early prelims, we don't know because we didn't actually see the fights. But name value wise, would it have made the card any better? Johnny Munoz versus Jamie Simmons. Okay, this one would have helped. Victoria Leonardo versus Melissa Gatto. That would have helped. What was that? That was a doctor stoppage. So that weren't even a real finish. And Miles Johns versus Anderson Dos Santos.
He did show that finish on the broadcast, by the way.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, so it's quite a good knockout win from the Miles Johns fella there. And Manuel Kopp. He beat Ode Osborne, didn't he? And we like that Manuel Kopp or Manel Kopp. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember us having chats about him before. He's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. So
to be honest, those early prelims, if you look at it, a round 1 KO, a round 3 KO, a doctor's stoppage. We've agreed that ain't real, and a round 2 submission. So they did actually sound like they were quite good.
Could have been, yeah. Could have been quite exciting.
Don't matter. I didn't see him. That's that. We're not here to drag things out.
Yeah, you said that about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, okay, but that's not why we're here. We're not here to torture people, are we? We won't torture people any longer. It's that simple. We apologise for what we have done up to this point. So I'll see you later and I'll have a chat to you in a bit about the main card.
See you later.
Oh, God.